All right. Hello. Welcome. This is a podcast with discussions about video games, and it's called Current Gen. I think we're on episode 231, right? I think we're on 231. That's
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do the Tim thing. Tim is like always like, "Oh, I think it's episode like 556."
Oh,
Like,
it's a
yeah.
you're
Yeah,
remembering to forget. That's
Yes, yeah. Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
deep. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, so it's me, Dan, and Kyle over there, buddy Kyle over there, and
Come here.
it's just the two of us
The
again.
terrible
This is
twosome here.
yeah, this is becoming a recurring thing. I think Tim actually hates us, and he just doesn't want to be here. So
Yeah. Well, yeah.
yeah,
We all hate
yeah,
the games that we all play. We're always just fighting all the time, all of
yeah,
us.
yeah. Mhm.
And sometimes we got to sequester each other off, to make sure that we, got to
Yeah.
exile someone to make sure that they come back maybe a little refreshed. So I had my turn, I think, a couple weeks ago. It's Tim's turn. Dan, I think you were off last weekend too. We were exiled last weekend,
Sure.
So we're all taking our turn right now.
Sure. But I'm pretty sure I remember Tim saying something along the lines of, I love my children, but those other children that I podcast with, fuck them kids. I think Tim said that verbatim. So
Yeah, I don't think he was meant for us, but yeah, we got it. Message received.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. But Tim, I hope you're enjoying your. I think it's a trip or whatever.
Yeah, it's a work trip,
kind of
and
trip.
I hope you're getting lots of cool handheld gaming in and real fun vacationing in between all the work.
And Jeff is still gonna be a superstar. He's still on the path there to being a superstar. So Jeff, we miss you as well. So
Jeffrey, Godspeed.
Godspeed, smart man.
Godspeed.
But yeah, there's not like a ton to talk about, so we made a little segment. We'll get to this segment, but then something did happen yesterday. I think it was yesterday. That really sucks, so we'll get to that in the headlines. Pretty poopy, some poopy stuff. Actually, a couple
something that's kind of cool. That's gonna be cool for some people. So
yeah.
A little cool, a little bad. That's the current gen guarantee. We're gonna give you a little cool, gonna give you a little bad. That's subjective. Right. What is what for you as a listener?
That's true. We're gonna ride the wave of emotions, and sometimes they're high, sometimes they're low. So
don't call it an emotional roller coaster, though, or I'm out.
That's right. But as far as new games, so really just like one new game, and then there was a demo that was dropped. I don't know if they had said they were going to drop the demo, but it's cool that they did. Did you play the demo or?
What? I don't even know what the demo is of.
Visions of Mana.
Oh no, but I will have something to say tangentially to that when we get to it. So.
Okay. I dabbled. I diddled. I did a little demo diddling.
I love it. Yeah, I love it when people go out of their way to demo, because it's usually not going to be me. So like I strangely hang that up on somebody else's responsibility.
I took that.
You're usually the one that comes through. So thank you for playing demos.
Yeah.
Jeff and Tim are also very good at playing demos. I am the odd man out, and I'm glad for you guys.
Yeah, I like to and I don't generally like do the whole demo, because it's just more of like I want to suss that. So
just get a good look. Yeah.
But the actual new game that came out this week is EDF 6, or Earth Defense Force 6. We're 6 deep into this bad boy.
We're 6 deep, man. Yeah.
And spinoffs too.
Not including all the spinoffs like Iron Rain and a few others, World Brothers.
Are they like connected? Is there like a EDF?
The numbered series is the core series made by the same dev. 5 was a reboot, and then 6 is a direct sequel to 5. Okay. Iron Rain and World Brothers are all done by like different devs. So like,
okay.
Everyone kind of has their own, and it's all the same thing. You know what I mean? Iron Rain's a little harder, and World Brothers is a little cuter. So like that's. But yeah. 6 is. I'm playing this one, Dan. Can you believe it? I'm playing a new game.
I can. Yeah. I mean, it's shame for playing a new game.
I know. Yeah. We made a pact, and I'm going back on it. Yeah. We said no more new games. Who cares if it's the podcast called Current Gen? We all just took a sabbatical from the current.
It's more of a state of mind, Kyle. Whatever's current.
I'm currently playing games. That's for sure. Yeah. Right. No, but 6 has been great, and I'm knocking on the door to beating this game, man. I've already put like 40 hours into this game.
Oh, wow.
I did get it early. I bought into it. I'm a shill, whatever. I don't care.
Sure.
I love this series, man. This is the best PS2 game you're gonna play all year, Dan.
Yeah, it does look a little old. It looks a little.
Yeah, it is all about fun. Like, they have no qualms about like these games looking the way that they do. There are a lot going on. There's like thousands of, maybe up to 1,000 enemies on your screen at once. Everything is destructible, so like there's fall down animations for stuff, and even shooting big like ships out of the air, like they're gonna like come down and explode and yada yada. So
that's pretty rad.
There's a lot of stuff going on. It could still look better, but that's not what these games are for. These games are low budget from a small studio, and for whatever reason found their little like niche that just makes enough money that they can just keep on making games. And you know what? I'm all about it, man. Yeah, you don't need to be like, I'm like this company's like corpos are not buying their third yachts. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the kind of dev this is.
They're putting a down payment on the first one and just praying to God they could keep it.
And they're probably getting kicked back because their co-signer backed out, So, yeah, this is a small studio, doing a really, really, really fun game. And I'm telling you, man, like, I love Helldivers. What I'm about to say is going to come off like really like try hardy or whatever. And it is what it is, Like, I'm just saying things, how people react. That's on you. Sure. I think this game is way better than Helldivers. I just enjoy it. It's just funner, Yeah. I think co-op, when you have a full 4 team in Helldivers, like the chaos that's created out of like everyone just being around and like you, like there's a friendly fire in this too, but it's not like Helldivers, like a whole mission goes wrong because somebody, did something poorly, and this, like, you just get peppered a little bit, So I think that Helldivers does have that like extra, I'm never going to talk to you again type of like gameplay. That friendships crave. Yeah, relationship ruiners, if you will. Yeah. And Helldivers is more just like fun, and just we're here to have a good time and just get the next big dumb weapon that blows up the entire horizon. So yeah, I love this game. There's a dumb like time travel thing in this game.
Gotta love that.
So like we keep losing the war and we keep going back in time to like fix something, but the bad guys are going back in time, and every time we like succeed, they've done something to the timeline.
Oh shit, they're doing it too.
Oh my god, it is a mess.
It reminds me of like Edge Tomorrow a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Imagine if both sides had like time travel, and that's like Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah. It's just stupid. You're not there for the story. Like, it's incoherent how like dumb the story is. But it is funny because it's supposed to be a B movie. So like just the banter between people are like, I used to be a pacifist, but then these bugs killed my wife, and it's just like, it's just stupid, like little like stuff going on in the background. Or people are just like
Helldivers too. Helldivers has a bit of that.
Helldivers does have a bit of that, absolutely. Yeah. Cheese, so there is a little bit of that like cheesiness that permeates through this that I just absolutely adore. And it's just a low budget game with high fun, dude. Low budget, high fun. And I just really like these types of games. Reminds me a lot of Dynasty Warriors, except you got guns, and you're shooting. Yeah, there is very much, it feels very much like a Muso game, in the same way that Muso games, like, it's all about chasing like weapons that are constantly dropping and yada yada that you're dealing with in between rounds and what have you. Really good community. Every time I get on, I get immediately into a 4-man team. I am playing this with another friend. I roped some poor soul into playing this game with me. He hated it to start with, and then we got to like level 40, which is insane. It's an insane ask of somebody. And he's like, I think I really like this now. And now he's played it more than me. He's like 60 or 70 hours in, and he's like completely obsessed. So
he's like, F them bugs. I'm going to kill
Yeah. I've created a monster.
Yeah. Now you have to take him out.
Are you familiar with the series like at all? Have you ever played couch co-op on this game? Have you ever gotten exposed to this game in any way?
I think there was I don't think I played the actual game. I think I played one of the demos and I was like, oh, this is pretty fun, but it's the demo, and then I just didn't like end up buying it. I don't remember which one it was though. It might have been 5 because I think it was like just a few years ago. I was like, oh, I'll check out.
Wow, very recent. Yeah. 5 is a good one. That's the one everyone's like, oh, where should I get it? I'm like, just 5. Play 5. 6 is, again, a sequel to 5, but like you're not really playing it for the story. But like 5, you can get so cheap. It's really hard to like convince a friend, like, hey, look at this game, it looking like it does, and it's a full price game,
Right.
It's a hard sell, dude.
Wait, so this is a $60 game? Or?
Yeah. And like you get sick, I am not this is a whole other conversation on like worth to like game or whatever. I feel like if you put 40 hours into a game, like taking $60 is not a huge ask for me. I think that I'm more than getting my money's worth out of it. But just like optic wise, if you look at a game like that and you look at a game that came out this year for the same price, obviously there is a huge graphical difference there. So go play 5. It's cheap. You can probably get it for $20. You can probably get it on sale for $8, depending on if you're shopping sales or not. And it is the same game. Like there's not anything new in this game other than like it's in 4K and there's been like very minimal like hitching and crashing and stuff like that. So it's like it's a very stable version of this game. But like I couldn't say that there's a lot of like new stuff in it other than like, hey, instead of a kaiju, now there's a dragon, so little enemy variants and stuff like that. But boy, this series is a lot of fun, man, and it is like a nice vacation from like having to actually like pay attention while you're playing a video game. This is a vacation. Like I could talk to my buddy while we're playing this game. There's not a lot of like coordinating like in Helldivers, like you're just kind of doing your own thing, and it's very passive. It's a passive experience, but can be very fun whenever you check in with the game because again, they're always saying crazy B-movie stuff or whatever. Or your buddy, blows up, half the city that we're trying to save, which is always a good time.
Sure. And this is couch and online co-op, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Still doing couch co-op. All these years later, someone's still doing it.
You got to respect that because it's a very, very rare thing nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So.
Check this game out if y'all have a fleeting interest in like dumb video games that are somehow still making money. This is definitely one of those. So. I love it. This game's gonna be so high on my top 10 list. It's gonna piss y'all off so much at the end of the year.
There's always got to be one.
I won't be fighting, I'll have other things I'm fighting for in a serious way, but like I'll bring it up enough where y'all are like, God, we can't talk about this game for game of the year, and I'll be like,
so what you're saying is EDF 6 is this year's Stray. Is that what you're saying?
No, I will never compare it to that.
Okay. It's higher art is what you're saying than Stray.
It's so high art, that's exactly what it's about. Is it just being a heady think piece,
Yeah, I do appreciate that games like this still exist. Like I said, with the couch co-op, I think that's fantastic.
I will say that if people want to gripe about it not being like a AA price, you know what I mean? Like I get it. I don't fall into those trappings of like dictating price and stuff like that, just because again, like I'm getting a time to money ratio out of it, which is kind of not always how I judge a game, but like in this instance, like I'm getting so much time out of it. Like who cares how much money I spent? It wasn't 80, it wasn't 40. Who cares? I spent 60. I'm fine with that. But like I can get that gripe because it is a low budget game. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, because like Helldivers 2 was $40, right? If I'm not mistaken. I think
good point. Yeah, and Helldivers 2 looks better in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's not
it is a higher dollar, higher thinking video game as video game.
But it's online.
So I mean, again, like you wouldn't catch me like, well, meet me for the debate tonight on fair pricing, or like I'm not too passionate about that. But like, if you want to wait for this one to go on sale, that's probably the move, for sure.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, thank you for sharing that, Kyle. Because
thank you for listening to me.
Yeah,
talk about a game that no one else is playing on Earth.
Hey, but you and your friend are playing it, and that's all.
Me and my friend are playing it. 2 other idiots. That it's so funny. I am getting like similar people from past games.
Are you?
I'm like, how is this even happening? There is a cross-gen or cross-platform, so there is some. I am like, they have a bigger pool because of that, so that's nice.
I wonder. I'm not used to looking up what is it, the concurrent whatever on Steam for.
Steam is mixed because they did you have to sign in through Epic to like play this game thing. How people don't like that, so they review bomb. That's just the way that people react now. So I think it is mixed. So because of that, but it is a well-functioning game. You might just have to, if you are playing it on Steam, you might have to do a handshake with a different app to get it going. Which I'll never understand why that makes people mad, but like, it's not my place to understand why people feel things. So.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle, it is difficult to here on my desktop click on this icon versus that icon. So it's a lot of work.
I can feel the rage bubbling underneath the skin, and I can see you keeping it at bay, and that's what I'm talking about.
I'm very zen. I'm very good at being like a monk. Just peace on the inside.
Yeah. Me and you are probably not representative of the reactionary mob that's online. So.
No. Everybody needs to relax. Everyone needs to settle down.
I don't know. Take a Xanax.
Yeah, just something. Just take care of yourself. Take care of your health, your mental health also. Just take care of it, please.
Yeah, maybe delete Facebook too.
Yeah, just delete all of the apps. Just all of them. Leave your calculator on there.
You'll be all right.
Your contacts if you want, I guess, if you still want to talk to people. Like, just delete everything else. So, but yeah, that's like pretty much the only new game to fully discuss. Quick list of some other new releases. Well, new being Star Wars Bounty Hunter, right? Because it's not a new game, but it's a remaster. So that's out this week. Deviator, which I have absolutely no idea what that is, but Tim put it there, so thank you, Tim. And also shout out to Tim because I know Tim is a fan of this and his family or his kids. World of Goo 2.
Ooh, yeah. I'm sure he'll come back talking about that one when he gets back.
But I remember actually playing the first, I think on the Wii. I think it was on the Wii. I actually dabbled with the first World of Goo, and it was actually pretty fun. It was interesting. So I hope the second one is, just as good, if not better. So
sure.
But yeah, the other main thing to discuss is the Visions of Mana demo. So that just dropped on, I'm assuming Tuesday. It had dropped. The full game comes out on the 29th of August, which is annoying, Kyle, because you know what else comes out that week?
Outlaws.
Oh, wait,
Star
is
Wars
it?
Outlaw. Yeah.
Shit. Wait, so is Black Myth Wukong also in the same week?
I thought Black Myth Wukong was like the 18th, or I don't know. You might want to look up Black Myth.
Yeah,
Wukong.
because that's the one I was referring to.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's August 20th. So 9 days before.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
So I didn't realize Star Wars was August.
Yeah, 30th, I believe.
I don't know why I'm looking this up like I don't believe you, but I just have to.
But I'm saying I believe, and I'm not saying it confidently. You know what I mean?
At least it. God, son of a. Yeah, it's the 30th. God damn it.
Yeah, if you're gonna lob me a guess, what else is coming that month, and it's a Star Wars, I'm always gonna go Star Wars.
Sure.
Damn, sorry.
Man,
But I am very excited for Black Myth Wukong. That looks cool.
Yeah, because what did I say that was? That was the 20th. So yeah, so that's the week before. Yeah, and then freaking Star Wars.
Yep.
And then Visions of Mana and the same. Jesus Christ. Okay, well, cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks, devs.
All right. And now Avowed being delayed to 2025 makes a little sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just shove
Sometimes it is not. I don't believe them. I'm not. We're just trying to get out of the way. I'm like, maybe, yeah, probably, but also like you're Obsidian. You could use a couple more weeks in the tuning, the tuning garage, if you know what I mean. So
those kind of games where where there's like choice and stuff. Have they actually emphasized if there's like choices in this, like there is?
Yeah, it's gonna be in like a carbon copy of of the spacey one. Which I absolutely love. I just can't remember the name of it.
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds. There we go. Yeah.
Which
there's gonna be a lot of choice. They even had a demo where it's like, this is what happens if you like sneak through this place, and like the conversation will change and yada yada. So.
Cool. All right. Well, that's good. Yeah. Just spread out the love. Spread games.
I will say, speaking of this game, I did buy Trials of Mana and start that recently. Very pretty game. Very fun, like combat. So it's like maybe I'll just take my time and beat that, and I'll grab Visions down the line. So
yeah.
Did you said you played the demo though?
I played the demo. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with the entire series. I think there's 4 or 5 other games.
Yeah, I think this is the 5th one, if I'm not mistaken. 5th main.
Yeah, could be wrong. It's either 4th or 5th. But yeah, I remember. So Secret of Mana on SNES, I remember playing a good amount of that back in the day where like I was first dabbling with like emulation and stuff as a teen. But like, oh, this is so cool. I can play these games on my PC for free. This is crazy. And then the Japanese translated ROM of the third one, which I think that's Trials, if I'm not mistaken. I think when it came
right. Yeah, I think that's right.
That's
yeah.
Again, I'm not super familiar with this because I
well,
know
I've played the original and that's it. So
Okay.
and I didn't even beat that one, but I do like the series because I remember being like, oh, it's not turn based, like it's that was alluring at the time.
It was like a really early RPG that was more action oriented, which was interesting. But yeah, this one feels very much like a modern game where it's just kind of like this whole just fully 3D open area. Well, when the demo starts, it's linear. You're kind of like in a snowy area, and I think which is actually a good way to set it up because it's kind of like it's not overwhelming you. You're just like in this kind of linear path, like getting used to everything, and then you kind of go out into this nice green lush field. And it's just like it has the whole like, oh, green lush field, this is amazing, and the music kicks in and everything, and that's a bit more open. So I think it's a nice setup in the demo just to kind of get you used to your bearings and everything. Game is beautiful as all hell, just very very lovely. Reminds me a bit of Tales of Arise, so kind of like that.
So good cliffs.
Yeah, not as good.
Okay,
they're good, but they're good. But yeah, the more stylized, drawn, kind of cell shaded, but not really like modern version of cell shading kind of thing that like Tales of Arise have. It's kind of going on here. So just very pretty game. Voice acting quality wise is good, but like there's definitely going to be people that have their takes of like how the characters talk, right? Like, oh, this character is grating and blah blah blah. Like, so there's definitely some of that going on with the characters. But yeah, like actual quality wise, like it's not bad voice acting.
Right. I know exactly what you mean. Like watching lots of dubs over the years. I even have voices in my head where I'm like, oh, that's probably what he's talking about.
Choices were made, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like this like one of the characters in your team is like a little dragon like girl, and she has a southern accent, and it's like, okay, sure.
Boy.
Yeah. That makes sense, right?
40 hours later, you're going to be like, shut up. Yeah.
But yeah, the combat feels smooth. It feels nice. There's a decent amount going on there. It's actually
they have you playing as the warrior in the demo, or could you play with anybody?
You could swap. Yeah, you just swap. It's up and down, I believe, on the D-pad to swap between the three characters. The main kid there, when you start out, so you can actually equip spirits. But there's probably a different term, but they're kind of like spirits that you can equip, and that's basically what dictates your class. And there's actually like when you switch the classes, there's two of them in the demo, and one of the other characters has it equipped, but then you can just like move it to whoever. There's actually like a Power Ranger style like transformation like thing. So like it comes flying in, and then you're all glowy, and then like aesthetically you actually look different, which is really cool.
Cool.
So you look different, and then your class changes, and the weapon that you're using could change. Like the class that the main character starts with, he has the big two-handed broadsword with like silver armor, and then I switched it to the other spirit, and then he had like gold armor, and he had a shield and like a spear type of thing, or a javelin or whatever, which is cool. So yeah, I like that a lot. That's going to be fun when you're obtaining new spirit. Like, oh, like what's the new class going to be? What is it going to, what are your characters going to look like? So I really dig that. Yeah, combat feels smooth. You have your basic attacks, your heavier attack. Pretty sure you can hold down a face button and it'll do different things. You have some magic that you can do. What else? Oh, the jumping. So you get a double jump, and then the dashing is actually really nice because there's no like limit to the amount of dashes. Like if you get like a good amount of height, you can kind of just keep dashing until you land back on the ground, which seems like maybe like a small thing, but to me, I actually think that's kind of cool. It's not like, oh, you can only dash twice. It's like, oh, I can just keep dashing. That's actually really nice. So it just feels very kind of like you can just kind of do whatever as you're moving around and exploring and so on and so forth. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a nice demo. It's a nice, like I said, linear to an open area. I don't think it's open world. It definitely seems like it's open areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played very, very little of it. So I'd say like I probably like 40 minutes, but that again just enough for me to kind of dabble, just to kind of see how the game
get a good feel. Yeah.
Yeah. So I am definitely curious and interested in actually purchasing it.
Did you play Trials?
I think that's the one. Hold on, I'm gonna Google this, because if it's the one that I'm thinking of, which I've always known as the Japanese name, Densetsu.
Yeah, Densetsu. Yeah, I know. I couldn't say it off the top of my
Seiken Densetsu. Yeah, the third one. Yeah. So I remember playing a translated ROM of this back in the day.
Oh,
so
okay, I
think of it as Seiken Densetsu 3, which is Trials of Mana. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I played a little bit of this one, and then a decent amount of Secret of Mana, and then there's also Legend of Mana, right, on the PS1, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe that's just the 3, or is there another one? I swear there's another one.
I thought there was, because when I looked up to see if this was a 6th entry, so we could do best 6s in games, like I thought I counted 5 main games, but I could be wrong. And I know there's a couple spin-offs too. So
yeah, let's see, main series. Oh, right. Okay. So I always forget this. So the very first one technically is called Final Fantasy Adventure. I don't know if you remember this. When it came here to the States, they called it Final Fantasy, but it's not really Final Fantasy.
Right.
Known in Europe as Mystic Quest. So Final Fantasy, or yeah, it could be known as Mystic Quest as well.
It's just called something completely.
Yeah.
We have something else called Mystic Quest here that's not that, so that's what's.
Yeah, sure. So it says known in Europe as Mystic Quest, which is interesting. Yeah, a little convoluted there, but and then Secret of Mana, and then Trials of Mana, Dawn of Mana. That's the other one I was thinking of. Yeah, Dawn of Mana. But I swear there's a Legend of Mana. Is that a spinoff? No, that's apparently considered a spinoff. That's interesting. And then there's Children of Mana, Friends of Mana.
Enemies of Mana. That's going to be the next one.
Well, Heroes of Mana.
Yep.
So
Villains of Mana.
Yeah, and then eventually down the line you could do Villains of Mana.
And then you just have Tramana from Rock, where he sells his tequila or whatever. So
tequila. So there's a little history there of the Mana series. So but yeah, I mean, it's a demo, it's free. If you're curious whatsoever, just go download it. Give it a try. It's not too shabby. I think it's nice. But yeah, that's basically it for the week as far as new things and et cetera, et cetera. You want to do news first, Kyle? Get the bad stuff out of the way, and then we'll talk.
Sure. Let's get the bad stuff out of the way. I don't have a lot to say about any of the bad stuff, anyways, other than like.
Sure.
Here we go.
This is bad.
Yeah, this is it. It's not great.
This is stuff that happened. So this week, not too great in the gaming industry, Kyle. We have a couple of bad, terrible things.
Yeah.
So Bungie, I put is laying off, but they did lay off, right? 220 employees and moving others to PlayStation. So just wrapping them up more into the
couple like people who've been around in Bungie like forever too, like axed. Yeah.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time. I mean, they made Halo,
Yeah.
Those Halo games.
Yeah.
So
a couple of the industry vets, I forget what their names were, but they're not playing developer or heads anymore over there. And what there was talk of like a Destiny spinoff or whatever. That was like their big project they're working on the side, and Sony canceled that too. So it was going to be a third-person shooter game based in the Destiny universe, and they're just like, nope, you don't get to make that anymore. You're going to make dumb service games for us forever.
Well, I mean, maybe not, because they probably canceled those with everything going on.
Yeah. Oh, who knows what's going on over there? I don't know why you would buy Bungie to like lead your games as a service like Brigade.
Because Destiny kind of started like that and like worked.
I guess, yeah, but like, wouldn't you buy Destiny to like make a good game? Like let's like do like. I feel like it'd been so easy to be like, hey guys, make a really cool like shooter game for us, and get that Halo killer that y'all been fawning over all these years. But no, instead, like they got them working on like multiple different games as service games and like stretched them way too thin, and they were collaborating with a lot of other studios on their games as a service game. Like it was just was a bad situation. It's really weird because Destiny 2's whatever Final Light or whatever that's called,
Final
the new
Shape,
one.
I think.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of good press and good positivity behind that. From what I understand on the outside looking in, like maybe diehard people will have something else to say, but like it seemed like a very positive thing. So this news does come as kind of a surprise from all that. I don't know, maybe it didn't sell well. I don't really know, but yeah.
Glad that you're mentioning positive stuff, because there's actually some icky stuff attached to this. And let me tell you, Kyle, about the icky stuff. So Bungie CEO Pete Parsons made the announcement.
Yeah. I forgot.
Pete Parsons made the announcement on the studio's website, citing increased costs and development and economic conditions as the reason for it, which, I mean, is just generic mumbo jumbo.
He copied and pasted that from somebody else's speech of the same subject. So.
Well, it's funny that he said that because was it so Sony purchased Bungie for, do you remember how much they purchased them for?
Like 3.7 billion or something like that, right?
Close. 3.6 billion.
3.6 billion, excuse me.
Yeah. Billion, not million, billion. Which, for extra context,
that's about what Star Wars sold for to Disney, just FYI. I think it was like 5 or 6 billion. It wasn't that much more. So like just think about that. Like, you may have overpaid for them.
Well, so I put here in parentheses for extra context, Kyle, Insomniac Games, who has gone on to make 2 excellent, and also the side, Miles Morales spinoff Spider-Man games. They bought them for $229 million.
Wow. What a steal.
Yeah, I'll say. So, kind of a little skewed there, right? A little skewed.
Wow, somebody way overvalued Bungie. That's crazy.
Yep, they sure did.
Wow.
Okay. Following the sale, Kyle, the CEO, Parsons, purchased over 20 classic cars in online auctions costing $2.3 million, according to his account on the website Bring a Trailer. He continued buying them even after mass layoffs at the studio.
Yeah, that's some pretty mustache trolley evil villain stuff. That's pretty cool. Yeah, good for him. Yeah.
Good for him. Good for you.
Your whole legacy is this now. Like people are gonna look at you, like see your name at whatever job you have to like go to next, and they'll be like, "Hey, aren't you the guy who bought 20 cars while your whole company was burning?" So hopefully that goes to follow and haunt him. But hey, you know what? The rich never really get knocked down, so we don't have to worry too much about justice being served.
Oh man, super gross. And like, this is why social media is just freaking cancer, Kyle, because like you see these news stories drop, and you scroll through, you're like, oh, I wonder what people think, and like people like defending that, like, yeah, I mean, it's his money, he's allowed to buy whatever. It's like, guy, you're not.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even gonna.
You got a lot of people out there who are just chopping at the bit to, be a contrarian or sandpaper person, as I call them, online. So. Whatever. I don't have much of an itch to click in the comment sections these days, so I don't see too much of that. But that's only because I know it exists in a massive manner. That's the.
I always just like that tiny sliver of curiosity, just to see if like humanity is like somehow being better, and it's no, they're not.
The humanity temperature check. Yeah, right.
All right, so we're gonna start low. We're going to go slightly high here with something nice, and then end back down real low.
A bad sandwich.
That's right. During a live stream on the 2nd of this week, THQ Nordic confirmed a new Darksiders game is actively in development. No date was given, of course, but that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah. The plan was always to do 4, right? 1 for each Horseman of the Apocalypse. So.
I think, yeah. Does Genesis count?
I'm gonna guess no, because that was kind of like a side thing, right? That does have.
Yeah, but it was one of the other Horsemen, though, so that's why I say that.
I thought it was all 3 of them were.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I don't remember. I gotta be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the series, so this is not my cup of tea. Yeah. But I know that they're like super loved. And I know that the one I'm talking about is like a Diablo type of game. Yeah. The other 2 are like Zelda-ish.
Zelda, God of War,
open world God of War type of very cool concept. Cool subject matter too. It makes no sense why I'm not into this. So I love it. Yeah, the world's ending. You're playing one of the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. That's a good enough setup for anyone to be in the door. So
yeah. I mean, this especially that first one, because I think I had only played the demo of the second one. I've only played the first one really. It did have like a early 2000s edginess to it, so maybe.
Oh yeah, and I think the second one's the one that everyone likes. So
okay.
Yeah, I think everyone really cherishes that second one.
Second one.
Which I think you play as Death in that one, and you play as War in the first one. Yeah, I do. I remember that era of just like, you know. Yeah, I remember that. Same era that God of War was part of, the original God of War. So just screaming, mad, manly protagonists. You know.
It like reminds me of what was that second Prince of Persia game?
Warriors Within.
Yeah,
Warrior Within. Yeah.
Warrior Within with the trailer of
Stand Alone.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny because that whole era of video games is like video games new metal era. You know, do you understand that reference? You understand what I'm trying to say? Like
absolutely.
That edginess, that like, you know, like I don't know. Which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm just making an observation.
I mean, I love Linkin Park and their new metal, so like I'm totally here for new metal. Like, I'm down with it. So, but yeah,
Korn's new metal. Korn's cool.
Korn is cool. A lot of bass, slapping the bass.
Yeah,
that bass. So yeah, that's cool. But let's go back down to Bummersville, Kyle. All right, here we go. GameStop shuts down Game Informer. Just this is down.
This is big. This is huge.
The longest running gaming magazine in the U.S.
33 years. That what it was.
Yeah, it's I put a little note here. It began publishing in 1991, and it has been one of the last remaining physical gaming magazines in the world.
So I've probably been subscribed to Game Informer since around early 90s. So it's like. And I was probably subscribed to it all the way up until like just before COVID. It's like 2019 or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And I always loved Game Informer. Huge fan of the reviews, huge fan of their coverage. Yeah, I'm just a huge fan. You know? I think he's gonna go get some toys here.
This is obviously not one of my favorite Final Fantasies, but I remember being super hyped about the cover of this is just beautiful, the art. So just a little Final Fantasy 15.
You got to pick a lane, Dan. I can't sit here and show off cool Final Fantasy 15 stuff and then trash talk it all the other times.
Listen, this is a beautiful cover.
No, that's rad. It's super cool. Was this when it was considered 15? Yeah, so it was already 15 by then. Yeah, it still wasn't Versus. All right.
So it was like the cover story of like after the rebranding of Versus 13 to 15.
Sure,
it was like
yeah.
It's like
big sort news in, you know.
Little chocobos here in the back. Little chocobos right there. Well, that's pretty cute.
What was cool about Game Informer is that they would, at one point, they were getting the scoops on stuff and reading like their 9-page cover story, you know, like was always a thrill for me, you know, like that's like where I remember when Resident Evil 4 got like its huge expose there. Its first big look at Resident Evil 4 was like through Game Informer. It was multiple pages. I remember like getting a good like full page graphics, you know, like it was so cool, and just reading so much about it and all the things that I look forward to was just a treat, you know. And it used to mean something, you know, flipping through a magazine and like seeing that's how we used to get our gaming news, you know. Now you can just go on Twitter and listen to any 14-year-old kid or listen to any of the thousands of podcasts recounting the news, you know, like it's so easy to get news. But back then, like there was only a few avenues, you know, and Game Informer got a lot of the best scoops, man. It was a treat to read them over the years.
Yeah. It was either go to the store and look at the cases and be like, oh, I like the art on the cover, and looking at the back, like this looks cool, or like picking up one of the magazines, you know, numerous magazines back in the day, and being, you know, kind of flipping through, oh, this looks rad, you know, like when's this coming out? So
I would just peruse through the review. Like I'd read every review for even games I wouldn't play and stuff like that, you know. Like I love that, just because like who knows what you'll find, you know, especially if like you knew that one of the reviewers in the magazine like was of your taste, you know. It's like, well, this guy thinks this game's an 8, you know, like let's get this game a try, you know. It was cool, you know, like that was like and a little simpler too. You didn't have to like take to the internet and like sift through a bunch of noise to get like takes and news. Now it's all just takes and news, and it's hard to get like the real, you know, beating heart of the industry on paper or in a video or whatever. It just used to be simpler back then, and I miss those simpler times of like just digesting like gaming news through Nintendo Power, which is dead, and PC Magazine, which I think might still be alive. Yeah, I think Nintendo Power died like years ago. All these magazines went down, but those were like my favorite things ever to read, so.
I feel like it's permeated even just in basic news, Kyle, right? The whole thing's just a joke. It's all even basic news is tribalism. It's this station versus that station.
Oh yeah. It's hard to, whereas they're like when you're reading a magazine, like it doesn't feel like you're reading, like a side, and you're definitely not having to hear about how something is or isn't woke or whatever, so yeah. Again, like when you're reading something from a magazine, it was like, roll your eyes, everybody, but it was real video game journalism was really happening. Yeah. Just like real journalism and the real world used to happen at some point too, It's just like those are not really things that deliver the news anymore, is like real, journalistic work, especially in entertainment. So it is what it is. It's sad news, man. It sucks, but I got a lot of good years out of it, and it's hard to like be totally bummed when like, you had 33 years of, the thing is almost as old as I am, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm very happy to have had so many years of it.
Well, the staff at the magazine, which also publishes a website, so they've had the website for a while where they would have stories on there. I think they had like exclusive stuff on their website too, if I'm not mistaken.
Stuff from the magazine, whenever a website started getting big or the internet started getting big, would point you like get more information, from on our website. So
they also had a weekly podcast, online video documentaries about game studios and developers. So they were called into a meeting on Friday with parent company GameStop's VP of HR. In it, they were told that the publication was closing immediately. They were laid off and would begin receiving severance terms. So they just didn't see it coming.
Some people found out via the Twitter announcement too. Some people who worked there because they weren't work that day or whatever. So just a real shitty way to firing people on a Friday. Very classic.
Yeah, the last issue, Kyle, number 367 will be their last issue of Dragon Age: The Veilguard cover story.
Oh, they've been pumping this one up too, man. I've been seeing, because I follow them on Facebook and stuff like that. Like they've been talking about how excited they are for this for a while now, and so good one to go out on, I guess. But sad that it's got to be the last one.
I mean, for some people, no. Some people, with their opinions on Veilguard, but so we'll see.
Oh,
I hope it's a good light on
it's something that exists as hot takes surrounding it. How fun is that?
But I hope Veilguard is like so excellent, because then it's like this will be like a great last issue of the magazine. So. But it's
spoilers. Veilguard is going to be magnificent. So
thank
spoilers.
You, spoilers.
It's probably going to be game of the year. Let me just.
All right. I like that. But it sucks, and it's the same thing as just with video games of digital versus physical media. We're losing like Rob. I don't know if you saw Rob's post in the group. Just kind of pointing out how because the website's just shut down, so like all the stuff that was kind of like on there digitally, you know what I mean, like is just now gone. And it's like that's not the case. Like I can read, as long as I take care of this forever, I can read this when I'm 90 years old, you know what I mean? Like
that's true. Yeah.
So it sucks. It's just it's a super bummer. It's a super
it is bummer. A super bummer. And I'm wondering if other publication companies are like in jeopardy as well.
Yeah. Well, IGN's the other big one, right? So.
Yeah, they're so big though, and they get so, like I've got to imagine there's so much money like going through there, but maybe I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's in more trouble than I think it is, but it just seems like I feel like a Kotaku or a Polygon goes down next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't, to be honest.
yeah. I feel like they are like kind of laughing stocks of the internet. So
is Polygon still? I could have sworn Polygon actually did shut down. Did they?
No, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but yeah, I think Polygon's still kicking around. Okay. I've never clicked on a Polygon link in my entire life, so I'm
fair enough.
I'm trying my best to. If they are dead, I did it, Dan. I never clicked on one their entire life.
I'm proud of you, Kyle.
The bad
doing the Lord's work.
Dumb company.
But yeah, so there we go. We did bad, good, bad. There we go. We got it out of the way. We got it. It's gone now, so we're okay.
Yeah.
We're safe.
See you.
But now on to something fun, Kyle. We're gonna talk about something fun, all right? Because
Cool.
you were playing EDF, and it's got monsters in it. There's all these big dumb monsters that you're just fucking blasting to smithereens. So I was like, hey, let's just do it. People love lists. I don't know if you know this, Kyle. People love lists.
They do, yeah. Especially OCD people.
Yeah, there you go. We're doing a top baddies in video games. All right, not the goodies, the baddies.
And specifically monsters, like you said,
Yes.
like
so
monstrous things that roar,
Right. Loose rules was just anything that's just not straight up human.
Yeah.
Is a go. So, I have 10 here. Kyle, you said you have 10, but then some extras in case there's any overlap. So, do you want to maybe because this is like a smaller list than the RPGs? Do you want to start and just kind of go through, or do half and half? Maybe you do 5 and then I'll do 5 and then you finish.
Yeah, we can do 5 and 5. Yeah, that sounds all right.
All right. Why don't you start us off?
I'm gonna do a softball answer. I'm gonna start us off with just dragons from Skyrim. Just dragons.
Sure.
Very fun to kill. They always show up at the most inopportune times. But killing them feels very good, and you get that cool animation where they disintegrate and their soul goes into you. It feels pretty good to kill a dragon in that game.
Yeah.
And while I know that over the course, especially if you play for hundreds of hours, maybe it's Allure, at that 200-hour mark or whatever, is a little lesser. Those first couple dragon fights are just ridiculous how epic they are.
Well, the music crescendos, right? They come.
Oh yeah, you get the Dovahkiin song that kicks in, and it is such a mood, So yeah, I'd be remiss to say that killing dragons and you could really dragons of any type, in games are pretty easy. Which leads right into my next one, the Rathalos from Monster Hunter, another dragon-like enemy. Just a classic hunt in that game.
Yeah.
You hunt them in every single one of those games. It always feels good. Getting to kill one in its nest, or something like that always is a cherry on the cake. So
that might actually be literally the most perfect answer, Kyle, because the name of that game is Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I almost did 10 monsters from Monster Hunter.
Yeah, so you understood the assignment, as the kids say.
All of mine are real monsters. Yeah, real monsters, if you will.
Good show. That was a good show.
Yeah, wonderful show. So kind of in a goofier one, Cubone from Pokemon. Why did I choose this? Why did I choose this monster? It's not my favorite Pokemon. It is a pocket monster. It's a monster.
It is a pocket monster.
But its lore always liked it. Yeah. Do you remember the lore of Cubone, Dan?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, so basically, all Cubone's moms die, and then they crawl into the dead head of their mother. And pretty much grow into their mother's dead head until they wear it like a helmet. And that's the skull that you see on these little monsters' head. They're horrifying, Dan. We should kill them all.
Dude, the lore, I mean, it's so funny.
There's a lot of weird lore in these monsters. I picked a pretty bare-bone ones.
What's it was all earlier on when the series started. And then as it's gone on, they've really shifted it to this is a kid's thing. Yeah. It's a kid's thing. It's you guys started off with some of this stuff being a super bummer, the lore of some Pokemon. So,
Final Fantasy, the Behemoth.
Yes.
Good Kingdom Hearts, the Behemoth boss fight. Mm-hmm. Anytime a Behemoth shows up, it's a good time, man.
Yeah, you should be terrified. You should be terrified.
The creature design's always good. It always feels like, dude, I'm fighting a classic Final Fantasy monster. Here we go. A big boss monster. It always feels good. So I had to throw in one of those. I'm gonna do another. I think is this my last one? 4 or 5? I forget how many I've done.
4, yeah.
Okay, you count 4. Okay, so my number 5 here. Another really easy one. A Xenomorph.
Oh.
Love killing them, man. Very cool.
I was in my head, I was there is the Alien games, but I in my head. So for me, my own thing was I'm not doing games that are tied to movies. I'm not counting those. that's okay.
I
That's
have
just
to. Yeah, there's not a lot of movies that like branched away into video games that like have been around since video games were, around. You know what I mean? We've been killing aliens as long as we've been killing Nazis in video games. So I feel like I'd be remiss not to bring up one of the most famous things that we kill in video games. And it is one of the greatest creature designs period ever.
Yes.
So
yes.
So yeah, I got a lot more. So you
absolutely. That's a good first 5 there. My first one here, Kyle. I'm being a little cute as well. Being a little cute here.
Yeah.
So I've been dabbling in Rock Band a bit more lately.
Okay.
And I don't know if you remember this song, Kyle. They first introduced this song in Rock Band 3. It was like the ultimate big song right at the end. And it's like you playing through the game. It crescendos to Through the Fire and the Flames.
Yep, Dragon Force.
So that game is a goddamn monster, or that song rather is a goddamn monster. Because fuck that song. That song is unbelievably difficult.
Has a rule about no aliens, but puts a rock and roll song on here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. You see, this gives us a varied
Man
list.
of many preferences. You
yeah,
are.
absolutely. My brain works in mysterious ways, Kyle.
Yeah, yeah.
But this game, it first popped up in Guitar Hero 3. It is playable on Rock Band. So yeah, it's just a brutal for someone like me who's just I'm not amazing at Rock Band. I super enjoy it. It's so much fun. But yeah, playing Through the Fire and Flames on hard on Rock Band is like almost impossible for me. Like I definitely mess up a lot, but it's still just so fun trying. It's just so fun trying. So yeah. From the Fallout series, we have the Deathclaws.
Very glad you brought this one up.
Yeah. Deathclaws
might be one of the most famous video game monsters of all time.
Yeah. It's one of those monsters, much like a behemoth from Final Fantasy, that when you see it, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, you're in for it. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah. They just always, they look cool. They're on their hind legs. They got the horn. Like this game, like the Fallout series, it's like, oh, things are mutated and blah, blah, blah. But like Deathclaws just look like there's something out of a fantasy game.
Yeah,
right?
I think the lore is that they were like created. Genetically created or something like that. Yeah, from the bad guys in Fallout.
Knock knock. Maybe season 2 we get the Deathclaw. Maybe they don't make us wait too much longer.
Yeah, I'm very shocked we didn't get. Well, didn't we get the Deathclaw? Didn't it kill? No, it was a bear. That was a radioactive bear. Yeah, no. Yeah, we were still waiting for the Deathclaw.
For the show, everyone. Sorry.
No, spoilers in that. Yeah, I guess that there's not a Deathclaw, but yeah.
Yeah, but that bear, that was a horrifying bear. Deathclaws are terrifying. Next one for me, and you've not played Sekiro, right? Or you've played a little bit of Sekiro?
Yeah, I played enough to know that it's out of my league. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you ever got to the boss fight, the Guardian Ape.
No, probably not. No.
The Guardian Ape is later on in the game. Like close to the halfway mark, I think, if you're kind of progressing through things. I don't totally 100% remember. The lore with that one is pretty sad. I won't get too much into it because there's kind of like there's like a secret bonus fight tied to it. But basically, it's an ape. He's just kind of like down in this like area that's kind of like ankle deep water, and he's just chilling there, and he's got like a sword like kind of like in his neck, and just his movements, he like slithers, or he'll like dive at you and then kind of slither like a snake. Like he's just like a horrifying ape, dude. Like he's not he moves around like an ape, but then he kind of like does all this weird slithery stuff, so he's just very unpredictable. He's terrifying. And spoiler alert, there's 2 you beat him, but then he's not actually beaten because you take that sword and you push it further and you cut off his head. But then guess what, Kyle? He's not actually dead, and then he's holding his head, and then you go for round 2. So
nice.
You think you're like, oh shit, I beat this really tough ape. Whew, I'm such a bad. Oh shit, no, he's still here and he's holding his head. So yeah, that's horrifying. It's just horrifying. He's a monster. So
total monster.
Total monster. Next one, I went with a classic, maybe a little obvious, Kyle, but I went with a classic. Bowser.
Okay.
Bowser.
Nice.
One of the most
He's
iconic.
indeed a monster.
Yeah.
Maybe the most famous. Yeah, maybe.
Huh.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally kidnaps women, usually the same one, all the time, you know?
Yeah.
A monster in other ways as well, adult trafficking.
He's a king, so a tyrant. He's tyrannical,
Yep. He breathes fire, like much like a dragon would. So, but yeah, I mean, one of the most classics as far back as video games go. So, yeah, Bowser, he's a terrifying dude. But maybe he's just, maybe he's just looking for love. Maybe the monster.
I think so he's stealing a girl, like maybe he like really likes her, but just doesn't know what no means, I guess.
Yeah, no.
You gotta get consent, Bowser. Come on,
That's
buddy.
Right. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then all right. So this will be my fifth one, and then on to you. Kyle, have you played Resident Evil Village all the way through?
Yes, yeah. I played every Resident Evil to ever exist all the way through.
All right. I'm going to not really even describe, just for anybody that's never played it. I'm just going to say 2 words, Kyle.
You know what I mean?
The baby.
The dollhouse. Yeah.
The baby.
That was a pretty, and I won't spoil anything either, but in the game when that happens, I go, I might need to take a break.
Yeah. It's one of those hair things that like when you have good audio and you hear it behind you and you can actually hear it getting closer.
Yeah, I panicked. There's things where you have to like do very particular things, and like I'm like my fingers were just jelly. Very horrifying, really terrifying monster for sure.
Yeah, definitely throws you off because that first like area is not as horrifying, and then you get to that and you're like, oh, this is like we shifted gears there. So, but yeah, so that's my first 5 there.
Well, I will just transition. I'm sorry, I'll just segue right into another Resident Evil villain. Oh. This is a classic, a Licker.
Ah, yes.
Maybe one of the best creature designs in all of Resident Evil, and I feel like that's another one. This is this game's Deathclaw, where it's like when you see one, it's all. The moment is always known. You know what I mean? Yeah. You always know when you see your first Licker in a Resident Evil. So, big fan of that. Had to give Witcher 3 some love because that game is another game where a guy hunts monsters. So I feel like you had to give at least something from that game. And the Leshen, the ones with like the antlers and like the skull, it's like wearing it's got like a skull head and it's got like antlers. Can get on its hind legs. Very cool looking enemy. I remember it being like in one of the first trailers that he's like fighting too, and I'm like, oh man, we're gonna fight one of those. And that's Leshen. Leshen.
Yeah, these are terrifying.
Yeah, very cool bad guy. I remember them having pretty good like little biographies, if you will, in that game. I don't want to call it lore, because but just little biographies of the
aesthetically this thing is super rad looking though.
Very cool looking baddie. Yeah, always fun to hunt those guys. This is, I guess you could maybe call this one cute, but the BTs from Death Stranding, any of them.
Sure, yeah.
The dudes, the animals, any of them. The goo itself and just the arms. Creepy, monstrous, horrifying, and sometimes actually take real monster forms. Like you fight them in like big globular monster forms. So I feel like I had to give that a little nod there.
Tensions are high when music kicks in and those things are bubbling up for sure.
I hate it. Once it starts raining, I just start sweating in that game. It's really
you're raining on your skin. It's
raining
like
on my skin. Yeah. It's my 4D experience at home. Right. I can really kick in the sweats whenever a game starts raining. Kind of similar. The Hiss from Control.
Yeah.
Very creepy. Yeah. Very creepy dudes. Also, much like the BTs, they kind of come in like a lot of different forms, and stuff like that too. Yeah. And just their constant presence of the whispering and the hissing, if you will, is creepy. But there's like particular moments in that game where you fight some pretty like special bosses, if you will, or hidden bosses or whatever. And like those are the monsters that specifically I'm talking about. Like those are like really creepy monsters and stuff, and not so much like the possessed people. Like those are people. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like the game does go out of its way to like create some really cool looking monsters. So my last one is a classic. I had to throw them in here. Zelda Moblins.
Sure. Yeah.
They're fun to kill, man. You know, they're like video games orcs. You know, another over the course of playing video games or board games or whatever, D&D campaigns or whatever, we've all killed a lot of orcs in our time, and moblins are just kind of an ode to that. I wanted to just say something that just wasn't orc. I wanted to, something specific. So moblins from Zelda, we've been killing them forever. They're fun. They're fun to kill. So
another classic staple there from Nintendo, because we got Bowser, we got moblins.
Yep, Pokemans.
I don't have any. Yeah, Pokemans. I don't have anything Mario, but there's not really anything like horrifying in Mario.
So Bowser's Mario, so.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I don't know why I said that. I'm being dumb. All right, so back to Resident Evil, Kyle.
All right.
An obvious one, but like, it to me just has always been one of those things of like, if this guy were real, like, I just F my life, just F it all the way, and that's Nemesis.
Yeah.
Nemesis is, I mean, the 2.0 of Mr. X, if you will, right? Because you got Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, who is also terrifying, but he's a little more.
He's a dude in a trench coat. Let's get real.
Yeah. But I mean, he's a
Nemesis
terrifying.
Is like a monster,
Yeah.
full blown.
Nemesis is like, dude is sprinting at you.
Yeah.
Like, just this giant monster man figure thing sprinting at you, Kyle. And if he gets his hands on you, tentacles all up in your face.
Well, and another cool, we keep on saying lore, but I think the background of these characters and monsters are good too. But like, killed all of the STARS members. You know what I mean? Like, that's like the superheroes of Raccoon City. He just ices.
Yeah,
so,
that's his main hobby, cool. Kyle. It's his main hobby.
That's his programming.
His favorite thing to do is to just say stars and then actually murder them. So, but yeah, just has always been. And that's kind of why with Resident Evil 3 remake, I'm like, oh man, like I actually do still enjoy that game.
I like that game a lot. Yeah,
I like it a lot, but they definitely took some corners, unfortunately, and didn't put stuff in the game that should have been there that was in the original, probably because of time restraints and yada yada. But yeah, in the remake, like, it's more realized, like, dude is sprinting at you and he's stomping around.
Well, that game is like the closest the Resident Evil series has gotten to like Uncharted so far, in my opinion. Not exactly 1-to-1, but there are, quick timey like events, there's a lot of like moments where things are falling all over the place, and the shooting is a little more arcadey, I guess it isn't too as well, but like that's just the way the series is now. But yeah, I don't know. I there's an action-y feel to 3 that I like a lot.
Right.
Cut out some good stuff though, for sure. But that's all right. Whatever.
We got Nemesis though.
We got it. Yeah, we got the game. We got the game in that beautiful RE engine. So
another classic to me, I mean, the series is not an old series, but it became very quickly a classic. And in these things, when you see them, and within the universe of this game, you're getting different variations depending on how infected they are by the mushrooms, if you will. And that's the clickers from The Last of Us.
I figured you were gonna pick that, so that's on my list as well. So I have an alternate. So,
and specifically the clickers, which are the ones where the person has fully mutated and has the mushroomy, sporey stuff coming out of their head. They can't see anymore, so they're click-clacking to kind of do a sonar, like get a sense of their surroundings.
It might be one of my like top 3 monster designs. For me. It might be for me. I think. There's nothing more horrifying than seeing like bits of someone's like skull split open.
Oh God!
While while all this fungi is coming out, it's pretty gnarly, man. And the show did a really good job recapturing some of that.
It did.
And by extension, the bloaters and all this, you know what I mean? I feel like they all kind of come as a package. They're all spawned from the same spore. So, man, that game's got dude. Remember the thing from 2? Is that a spoiler? Can we talk about that?
Oh, are you talking about when you're in the
Rat King? Can we call it that without it being too? I think that's actually what it's actually called. But yeah, it's like the coolest thing ever. Yeah. So if you've never played 2 because you're one of those people who like played the first 20 minutes and hated it or whatever, you missed a really cool part in that movie or that game. So
which is pretty far in. It's pretty far in.
Very far in.
Yeah. That's a very cool moment. But yeah, clickers, dude, are just because you come across them pretty early in the game, and it's like they're one of those one-hit kill enemies. So that's what makes them even scarier, because
it's true.
Got to shoot it before it gets to you, or if you happen to have a shiv, you can use the shiv. Otherwise, you're done. You're just instantly done. So, this one is a little different, but it popped into my head. I was like, oh yeah, that bitch is scary, horrifying, Kyle. From the first Evil Within, Lara. I don't know if you ever.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Lara, which is
I have played the first Evil Within, so yes.
Okay. The sort of on all fours, but also has two arms kind of coming out of its back. So I think it's got like 6 limbs, very reminiscent of The Ring and like Grudge Girl, with the black hair.
Kind of like Alma from Fear, the Alma vibes as well. From they're very. I always felt that they were similar. That's a good go, man. She always creeped the hell out of me when she popped up.
Yeah, well, because like the first, so I've said before on here that I like Evil Within 2 more just overall as a game, like because there's still good scary moments. It feels more actiony. I like the openness of it. The first game is, in my opinion, absolutely scarier. Just scarier in general, atmosphere, the way the game is designed, because it feels more claustrophobic. It's a little more janky. So dealing with this chick just popping out of bodies, Kyle, she literally teleports from a dead body. Like you see the blood bubbling, and then she just pops out of it. Yeah. So you think you're safe, and you're not. So,
boy, that game is such a head trip too. So your brain is never in the right place,
Yeah, she's terrifying. All right, and then my last two here, both Final Fantasy. Bit of a cutesy choices, but I just like them because they're just like, when I think of Final Fantasy and I'm like listing off things when I think about the series, like, oh, chocobos and crystals and airships and Sid. And then when I'm thinking about the monsters, Kyle, Behemoth, definitely a good one. But I'm also thinking about Tonberries, and I'm thinking about Cactars.
I love Tonberries because to this day, when I come across one of them, I'm like, I'm gonna fail this fight, because they always have that like one hit kill that like I always get me every time. Like, and I have to like, all right, this is how they work in this game. Now I know how to fight them, but I don't know if I've ever beaten one. My first, nice, there he is.
Look at him, he's just so adorable. But he's just got this little lantern. He's just looking in the dark for someone to fucking stab.
He's horrifying. Yeah.
Just a cute little fella who wants to stab you one time, and then you're just dead.
Cactar to me will always be the mascot of. I know people are like chocobos or Koopo guys or whatever. Moogles, thank you. Yeah, but to me, it's always Cactar.
Yeah, Cactars are and then I got some back here. Those are one of the first things that I had experienced, actually. So they're actually pretty important to me, and that's why I technically had it like in the first spot, because it's like the first thing that popped in my head. Because my friend who introduced me to Final Fantasy, it was Final Fantasy VIII. He was on Cactar Island doing some AP farming. So it was like the first anything I had seen in a fight in a Final Fantasy game was a Cactar.
Oh, okay, nice.
So, and I just always enjoyed just that kind of vacant nothingness in their face, just kind of their dumb little faces. But then they just kind of bend down and they just pummel you with needles. Just so many needles, Kyle. Horrifying.
I love it. Yeah.
Could you imagine somebody pummeling you with at least 1,000 needles? At least,
No, I couldn't, and I don't want it.
Yeah. So
they're a great monster. I think that's an absolutely excellent choice.
Yeah. So those are my last two. So there we go. Top baddies in video games. These are not definitive. I don't want anybody in the comment section be like, "What do you mean, dude? What about this?" Blah, blah. You can list whatever you like. Actually, please list some baddies that you do like that we didn't list.
Please do. Yeah.
Do the comment below, blah, 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 whatever, all that jazz.
Like and subscribe and blah, blah, blah. Hit the bell button.
The bell button. Yes, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, bad guys are fun. There's some fun ones out there. So there we go. We did our segment. I guess all we have left, Kyle, is just other things we're playing / watching.
Nice.
Would you like to proceed? Since
I'm
the baddies.
I'm like kind of diddling a lot right now besides Earth Defense Force. I'm still playing Trails Through Daybreak. I do not want to spend a lot of time on that. I feel like just talking about that game. Yeah, it's a good RPG.
Yeah.
I did meet my next character in that, though. I've met 2 since last time we podcast, and the last character I met is definitely the coolest character I've met so far. There's always some tragic story. That's this game. This whole entire story has just been about like meeting the next character and what their story is. Because there's going to be 2 more of these games, you know what I mean? So, like, the real story is taking place in those games. And, like, the next person I just met, we're at a film festival right now, and that this person seems like they're going to be pretty cool as well. And I'm already, like, what horrible thing is going to happen to you that's going to justify why we're spending time on you? Great game, go play it, whatever. I also put about 8 more hours into Persona 3 Reloaded. I'm all the way through November. I'm in the last portion of the tower in November. I want to beat this game before, and I started playing it because I watched the what's the new game called? Magnificent.
Oh,
Magnifico, Metaphor, whatever that game's called. They had like an 18-minute like breakdown of like what you're doing in the game and what everything means and all the world jargon and who your characters are. It's the biggest look at the game you've gotten so far. And I got so freaking hyped. I just went and played Persona 3 for like 8 hours straight. So that's where that came from. Would love to beat this game before Metaphor comes out. We'll see if that happens or not. Boy, those guys make really good games over there at that Persona studio.
Yeah, they're kind of good at making games, for sure.
Kind of good at making games. Dan, you might be interested in this one. I'm playing a little game called Anomaly Agent that came out this year.
Oh.
And it's like a cyberpunk side-scrolling arcade game. You might want to pull it up while I'm talking about it so you can take a peeper at it. But like, it's super cool. Like you're an agent or detective that like investigates like anomalies, whether they be portals or gravitational changes or whatever. And it's just like it's a side scroller beat 'em up, but at some points it's kind of a platformer. At some points it's kind of a cyberpunky narrative driven game, and it's just like it's like a hodgepodge of different things. Got a cool little art style to it, very retro.
I was gonna say, he looks like a kind of like he would be at the disco.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah. I've seen moments where he gets a samurai sword, so I know you're going to be able to cut some people up at some point.
Yes.
Really enjoying this game. It's got a cool vibe to it, and it goes on sale a lot for like $5, so it's very cool. I've been really enjoying that one.
Yeah, I like catching the random side-scrolling, like kind of beat 'em up action-y games that like are surprisingly more fun than others. That's always
yeah, and like the combat feels pretty good. Like you do parities, you do dodges, you do like there's kind of like an Arkham Asylum-esque type of nature to it, if you will. Cool. So it kind of feels good there. Speaking of watching videos that got me hyped to play games, I watched a whole thing at like China Joy or Joy China. It's a convention that showed some games off or whatever. And the new Dynasty Warriors Origin was there. And they showed like a huge demo for this game with like thousands of people on it. I've never seen a screen so busy in my entire life with like characters that are dying. So crazy to me. That got me so hyped, and they broke down what you're going to be doing in that game, and like moment to gameplay, the world map, what you can do on the world map, all this stuff. And I'm like, I got to play this game. Not coming out till next year, though. I never beat Samurai Warriors 5. So I went back, booted that up about halfway through that game. I'm going to see that one through as kind of like biding my time to play a Musou game while I'm waiting for a Musou game. So Samurai Warriors 5
between Dynasty and that one, the
Dynasty is the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It's Chinese, and Samurai Warriors is usually like Oda Nobunaga era. So like kind of the era that Shogun, the TV show, took place after, would be the tail end of like the story of those Samurai Warriors games. Obviously different countries, different times. But yes, Samurai Warriors is very good. This one has a cell shaded look to it. It's very cool.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
Just a cool game. I really like Musou games. Is a really good entry. That's it, man. I bought a lot of other games. I'm playing a little Trials of Mana, not enough to like really speak on it more than I already did. I bought a lot of games on Switch that I'm kind of diddling, like Final Fantasy VI and stuff like that. So, I will chime in when I have more to say on that stuff. But like, I feel like I've started like 10 games and like played like 5 to 10 minutes of each of them. So. we'll see what's catching my attention. But those are the big ones for right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What are you,
And not watching nothing you're watching or anything?
I mean, I saw Wolverine and Deadpool. I mean, it's fun. I don't know. It was a good time.
You're being so cavalier. You're like, oh, you know.
Yeah, it was fun. I don't know. People
fun.
are. I feel like there's a lot of spoilers to be had for that movie. And the more that I go, oh my god, I feel like go watch it if that's your thing. If it's not your thing, don't go watch it. Like, but if you want a Marvel movie, this is one. So
people have, I don't know if it's just me, but like I almost feel like people are being more annoyingly spoilery with this one. Like people literally
I feel bad for people who didn't see this the first week because there's so many. It's like it's blatant headlines on like real publications. It's not just like people on Twitter going blah blah blah. Like it's just like it's IGN going this person's in this movie or this thing happened or whatever, and it's sorry everybody if that's why I don't want to talk about it too much, because I feel like so many people who haven't seen it, like there's no reason to put more attention towards it until you go watch it. So go watch it. It's fun, yada yada. TV wise, I'm not watching much right now. No, I want to start the new Batman the Crusader or whatever, Dark Crusader, that's on Amazon. It's a new animated series. Looks kind of cool. There's a lot of stuff that I want to start that I just haven't. I finished Cobra Kai. I don't know.
Okay.
It's garbage television to me. I don't mean that it's like a bad show. Just like that's my we all watch garbage television. That's one of my shows that is just like guilty. It's just a guilty pleasure. So it's fun. That show's so stupid. All those kids look 40. And they're like, what college am I going to? I'm like, you're older than me. Like,
you're the teacher.
What college are you going to? Yeah, get out of here. Y'all took forever to shoot this show. I'm really excited for Stranger Things to be like that too, because they're all like 50 by now. They have to be. So.
I know. So I get that the whole thing with that show initially was like, oh, it's like in the 80s, but like it's like I kind of almost feel like they have to just be like, oh, like time jump, like X amount. You just
have to at this point, yeah.
What's
wrong with having one season in the 90s? What's wrong with that? The 90s are cool. The 90s are basically just 80s part 2. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So. Just no acid stained jeans or acid wash jeans or whatever, right? And leather or not leather, but the jean jackets and all that shit. Yeah. Just throw some Jankos on them, Kyle, and just say that.
That's right. Yeah. Just Jankos on and call it a day.
Yeah. And some Nirvana, and just say the last season is the 90s. So.
Right.
I would actually love that if they did that. But yeah, so for me, I actually do have a couple of shows, Kyle.
Nice.
I finished 2 The shows. I finished The Bear season 3, and I finished The Boys season 4.
Oh, I have been watching The Boys, so we can actually talk about that.
Yeah. And I'm in the middle of watching Gen V. So I
love Gen V. Yeah, that's very good.
Surprisingly, actually really great.
I thought that show was going to be really stupid because spinoffs usually suck. No, that one was. I was shocked how much I liked it, to be honest.
Yeah. I will repeat what I said in our little chat thing. The music sucks. It's horrendous.
I don't remember. I have no memory of any of that. So, and I'm not to say that you're wrong. I literally just have no memory of what the music was or.
I mean, I get it. I totally understand. I'm the odd man out where I don't like rap, hip hop, any of that shit. It's garbage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I probably wouldn't have shared your opinion. Yeah, if that's the case.
It's just not my thing, and it just pops up, and it's just so it's But anyways, the actual show.
I didn't know if it was TikTok songs or something like that. I don't.
It might even be. I don't even know. I literally don't know who's. You could pay me. You could be like, I will give you $1 million. Tell me who's rapping the song, but I have no clue. Absolutely no clue. But the vibes of that show, Gen V, are definitely very much aligned with The Boys. But it's like college, so you got college.
Yeah, kids are almost more depraved than adults, so it's like you actually get a lot more depravity, and weird stuff, So.
Yeah. But there's definitely a cool hook there in the beginning. You're like, oh, okay, there's a cool hook there. So,
Arnold Schwarzenegger's son. Did you know that?
Oh my God, is that?
Yeah,
I totally forgot that. Yeah, that he is an actor. Oh wow, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
And sadly, the kid that controls metal in that show died, so he's written out of the second season. Yeah, so good, so good. He's so good this season too. You'll be really bummed by the time you get to the end of the season. You'll be like, what the heck?
Yeah. That's a shame.
He's very good, and his character was very important. But they figured out some way to write him out. So
absolute shame. But yeah, season 4 was it was fun. It was more lore stuff happening than action.
I would say because we're anime boys, in anime terms, I don't want to call it a filler season. It's a setup season. So
right.
It's like you're getting all the dominoes in place to tip them over, It's
the Infinity War of the boys, and then we're gonna have Endgame.
Yeah, right. Or Demon Slayer just had its like training Hashira arc,
right.
And it was just a bunch of things that kind of set up like the bigger thing that's about to happen. So
yeah.
I never mind that type of stuff, and I thought there was still a lot of stuff going on in this season. A lot of new characters. I like Sister Sage. I like that character so much.
Yeah.
She's so great.
Yeah, just hey, I'm just like literally the smartest person.
Literally the smartest. She's Ozymandias from Watchmen. You know what I mean? She's the smartest person in the entire planet. And that's their superpower, is that they're smart.
Right. And like how she kind of like deals with that is like funny too. And like like the sort of after effect of that too. Like after doing that is like, and then and just the whole thing with the deep, like dude, that character
the deep went off the deep end for sure.
He absolutely did. Like what this absurd cartoon character that dude. But that actor is really good at hamming.
He's very good at being deplorable and totally unlikable, which is what that character is supposed to be. So
absolutely. And the whole dynamic with Black Noir, which if you finish season 3, then it's like
how is he here?
Right. But like that whole just bro, like it's just
the bro stuff. I also liked I just need some notes, I'm dancing in the wind over here.
Like I could go work over wherever he says I'm gonna work. I could just go over that. I'm not getting any sort of guidance here. Like
very stage direction.
It's just very in his head about the whole thing. And then like
everyone always reminds him, dude, you don't talk. The whole season, you don't talk. That's number one. I
really enjoy when Homelander is like he actually leans into like when they are trying to be humorous, where he kind of just tells someone to F off as opposed to just straight up murdering them. Like just in his style of being a cartoon character, he's just like, just get out of here, straight up murdering people, which is still
that guy is such a good actor who plays Homelander. He's incredible.
Yeah.
He's scary. Like he's legitimately scary to the point where I'm like, I wouldn't want to interview that guy. Like I wouldn't want to be like in a room in like close proximity. Like he just like he plays it so well.
Yeah. Well, apparently, I mean, I don't know if you remember that story where he was like in some kind of bar brawl or something, and actually
he beat the crap out of somebody.
He beat the crap out of someone in real life, and then spent a night in jail or whatever. So so he's a little loose cannon. So perfect guy for Homelander. Absolutely perfect actor. But yeah, definitely setting up for 5. So that'll be fun.
Big cliffhanger. Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. And I'm still. I don't know. Is there like a deep connection with Gen V with anything, or is it just kind of like it's in the world?
Just those couple characters that show up are Gen V characters, and that's about as connected as it's been. And the origin of the virus they talk about all through season 4 originated in Gen V.
Oh, okay.
It is being like, that's the whole story of Gen V is about that virus being made on campus.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I look forward to finishing that.
And Gen V will continue to go on, and they announced a new spinoff. The show ends with season 5, but like they're gonna run this into the ground. I mean that in a good way, because they haven't done anything bad yet. So it's like there's no reason to, I'm pretty simple, Dan. When I like something, I don't mind getting more of it.
I'm just I'm totally fine with more
on that one.
Yeah, I'm a simple man. I like dark-haired women and breakfast food.
Yeah. Right,
just like Ron Swanson. The Bear season 3, that show is just shot really well. The acting is just immaculate. Like everybody's just doing their thing, and just like everything just goes. But this season felt very like, it wasn't bad by any means. I would not use the word bad. It just kind of felt like not a lot was going on. It just kind of felt like people had some things to think about, and we ended the season and we're still thinking about it. Basically.
That's interesting.
So needles weren't really moved too much, but there's this whole thing with a review going on for the restaurant and it's very important. So we are sort of like kind of like, oh, what's gonna happen with this review for the restaurant, because it's very important, and like this whole angle of like the cost of the restaurant, and like and with the economy and everything, and kind of wrapping it into real life sort of stuff, you know what I mean? So because running a restaurant is risky, so
sure, yeah,
leaning into that. So but yeah, I still definitely enjoyed it. And there was definitely some like really heartfelt moments of like kind of like getting me teared up.
Some good cameos still. Are they still cameoing it up?
Yeah.
There's always some big cameos in the show.
There was a cameo that was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool, and they definitely bounced off of the main cast really well. So I thought that was fun. There's this whole angle about being haunted. So there's a whole thing with that, which is silly, but it's fun. But yeah, The Bear is a good show. It's a good show. I think season 2 was just so strong that it just kind of makes season 3 doesn't seem as strong.
High highs make mids feel low,
Yeah. Now I brought this one up, Kyle, game when we were doing the thing with Derek. So I finished this one. Nobody Wants to Die.
Oh, you finished the cyberpunk like detective noir type of story, right?
So it's not a super long game. It did take me like way longer than it should have, because it's not a bad game by any means. I think the execution just could have used a bit more massaging. But aesthetically, the game is freaking awesome. It just wonderful to look at. It's wonderful. Yeah, the scenery. There's this one moment in the game that you get to, and you're just sitting on your car. It's all very Back to the Future, where the cars can fly. So you're kind of sitting on your car that's just sort of like up, however high it is, and you're just like looking at the city in front of you, and you see all the cars following on their paths, and you're looking up in the buildings that are like sky freaking high or beyond. So it just, aesthetically the game is really great to look at. The voice acting, like I had mentioned, the quality is good. It just sometimes definitely feels like a teenager wrote it. There's a lot of like just bad words being thrown in there, just seeming like for the sake of it. Your F-bombs here and there, just extra F-bombs. It's like, all right,
kind of cyberpunk trope too, though. A lot of
sure.
Yeah, a lot of vulgarity in the language, because everyone's delinquents in a post-apocalyptic neon, drenched world.
So yeah, the game takes place in New York in 2329.
Now, is it like Blade Runner-y, like cyberpunk?
No, so I would say
is it more utopia? Is it happy cyberpunk or sad cyberpunk?
So it's definitely noir, like future noir, but like as far as like characters looking kind of like maybe from the 50s, and the cars looking kind of like from the 50s, but like they're flying. So I think there's definitely kind of like what would be traditional noir in whatever sort of time frame that normally takes place, but mixed with future. So so yeah, there isn't like people with like robotic prosthetics or anything like that.
Sure, okay, yeah,
that sort of thing.
So maybe not as cyberpunky like World of Tomorrow. Are you familiar with that type of like future, like where is it like shiny?
Yeah,
a little more like that, because like 50s, that's what I kind of think is like golden era.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Chrome cars and
yeah, exactly. But yeah, so there's this whole element of it within the world. I'm just kind of grabbing a little, where is it here? So you play as Detective James Kara, and essentially we're in a future where there's this technology that you can transfer your consciousness to other bodies. So essentially like immortality, but like not in the same body. So if you are rich enough, you can buy a new body, and then when you want to, just transfer that bad boy, transfer your consciousness over to the new body, Kyle. But if you can't afford it, then you kind of have to go into like store your consciousness in a like a bank, so to speak. So there's sort of like this kind of grimy, like underneath thing where like obviously we're in a society with capitalism, and obviously the people at the top can afford, you know, X things, and people at the bottom not so much to struggle. So, and like people in high, you know, high places like making rules where like, oh, once you hit a certain age, you have to do this and stuff like that, which obviously is tricky for people that can't afford to transfer their consciousness over. And things like that. But the main focus is the murder mystery element, which you're using this device on. So James uses this device on his wrist that when you go to a crime, so right in the beginning of the game, there's like a very important person, crime scene. You're investigating what happened to them. And he has this thing on his wrist that essentially within that bubble of the crime scene, he can rewind and forward like time, so to speak, and kind of see what's going on. And you can actually see like, so like if you're rewinding it, like that character that's dead is like walking or you know, getting shot at or falling over something, and it's, you can kind of like move it back and forth and see them going through the motions. So once you learn all the mechanics from that first crime scene, it's basically the same for the rest of the game. So as far
kind of
as,
sounds like Batman, like in the Arkham series, like his detective mode, where like he can also rewind, or judging by evidence, can like create a hologram that like, you know, that's kind of okay. Is it that simple? Like, is every crime scene kind of simple?
So
okay.
Yeah, the mechanics are basically like boom right there, first crime scene. You've pretty much figured it out, and you're essentially doing the same thing with every crime scene.
So it's really more about the story, I'm assuming, that it's telling.
Yeah, it's definitely like a choose your own adventure kind of like just walking simulator, so to speak, but with like the element of like kind of interacting within like, again, the crime scenes and what's going on with those and trying to piece things together. I think my main gripe, and it's just more of a personal thing, is I didn't quite really fully get from A to Z the story of like how we got to the end. So,
all right, yeah, that's not great.
So definitely for me personally, a little confusing because there's just kind of a lot of elements going on of like each crime scene and like all these different people that are involved and everything. Also, you have the whole element of characters, people being able to transfer their consciousnesses over. So you're getting, it can kind of be confusing, right? Because it's like, well, this person used to be this person, but now they're this person. So it's just a lot going on there. And you know, if you want to try the game and you absorb the story, you might like the story more than me. For me personally, it was a bit confusing overall. But it's a neat experience. The game's only $25 also. So it's not like super.
That's good. That's good then. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 5.5 hours long. So it's
a pretty sharp looking game for that price.
Yeah. It's definitely, again, that was like my favorite thing, was just like the moments where like you could see out into the city and just kind of like look at everything. I was just like, this game is, I would have loved this game to be like a BioShock type of thing.
Oh,
like
cool.
Something like that. I think if like it kind of like played like that and kind of had that going on, like it would have been like perfect. But that's not what they were going for. That's okay. So yeah, I mean, you know, give it a try if it sounds somewhat interesting or not. And then really, other than that, Kyle, right now in my free time, I'm just kind of circling back because I finished the first 3 Final Fantasy Pixel remasters on stream.
You're killing it, man. Yeah.
So I got the last 3, but I'm going back and getting the platinum trophies for the first 3.
Oh, whoa. Okay. Nice. What kind of grind is that looking? Are those pretty tough platinums to get, or are they after one playthrough like, oh, okay, I know how to get this pretty quick?
Final Fantasy 1's was easy because I was able to go off of my main save, and there was only like 4 of them that I was missing, so I got that platinum pretty quick. Final Fantasy 2, though, does have missable trophies.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm having to do like an actual new second playthrough. But that's okay because I basically, and the fun thing with these Pixel remasters is you can go into the settings and they got the boosts. So you can get ×4 gil, experience, whatever, turn off encounters if you want. So, you know, you can like grind a little to kind of level your guys up and then like turn off encounters and just go through the story. You know what I mean? So you can kind of just like speed things up a bit. So that's basically.
I hope to God 6 has that.
Yeah, if it's a
I think they
pixel
all
remaster,
do, right?
They all do.
Yeah, I didn't get the whole remaster set, but I think when you buy them individually, those are just the ones in the remaster set. So
yeah. So they'll have the boosts.
It's
so
so
those are
good
nice
to just be like, you know what, I'm grinding right here, and then I just want to walk through this dungeon. I don't want all this nonsense of every 5 steps. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so it's nice there that it gives you that choice. Yeah, to kind of just do whatever. So yeah, I'm in the middle of just doing my the run on Final Fantasy 2. I have the trophy guide. It seemed it's reasonable. It was just random things like fill out the bestiary, get all of the treasure chests in the game, like stuff like that. So I just gotta pay attention and make sure I get all of them in the missable places.
That's such a cool goal, man. With your reverence for the series, you know, like it'd be nice little feathers in the cap to be like, yeah, I got those trophies.
Yeah, because they're not too bad. The trophies are not, at least in 1 and 2, they're not like anything crazy unreasonable. So, so yeah, that's just that's what I'm doing. So,
I love it, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it, Kyle. I don't think
we did it, man. Record timing
did a
too.
Thing. Yeah, we did the thing. We spent less than 3 hours talking.
Yeah, we did it. Yeah, and I went on and on about stuff, and you know, we didn't cut anything short. We just the industry's dying, guys, and so
let's add in another segment here. What is the meaning of life? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, let me tell you, the meaning of life is to live.
There you go.
There you go, everybody.
Thank you for wise words.
Thank you for wise words.
Yeah. That's an old segment. Tim would sometimes.
It is, yeah. That's a throwback segment.
Do you have any wise words for us? Just live, guys. Just live.
Just live. That's all you gotta do.
But yeah, thank you for being here, Kyle. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You did well narrating and going through the motions in Dad's place, so I appreciate you.
Thank you. I hope Dad can appreciate it as well, because again, he told us to F off, and I hope he can love us again. I hope he can find it in his heart to love us again.
You know what? Just like my real dad, chasing after the affection of fake dad is a lifelong goal of mine.
So instead, just live. Just live. You know?
Just live.
Just live. Don't look for.
Get out there and start living.
That's right. But yeah, everybody appreciate it. Thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.